Hey, what's up? Mark here for WayCoolNews.net, welcoming you to another very exciting toy review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Marvel Select version of the Lizard from the new Amazing Spider-Man movie. On the front of the packaging, the Lizard comes housed inside the clear clamshell with a threatening raised left arm. On the left side of the front comes the Cooperative Marvel Select product logo. Below that, amongst a red gradient halftone-like pattern, replicating the red parts of Spider-Man's costume, is the movie title, The Amazing Spider-Man. The bottom of the left side also features the character name of the Lizard. Just to the right of that, we see a sticker that features a green double helix that represents reptilian biology. The left side of the packaging features the Lizard in a crouched pose. The image is extremely detailed and really helps provide a unique quality to the packaging. The back of the packaging features a web-shooting Spider-Man image in the top left corner, with the movie title layered just above that. On the left-hand side, along with the larger Lizard character title, comes Lizard's bio. On the right-hand side comes a photographic image of our Lizard figure posed closely to how he is seen in the package. Advertised in the bottom lower right-hand corner are other available Amazing Spider-Man movie figures from Marvel Select, including the unmasked version of Spider-Man that loosely resembles Andrew Garfield, as well as the masked version of Spider-Man, which we'll be covering in our next review. While the success of the Amazing Spider-Man movie remains to be seen, I can instead boast about how successful Marvel Select has been at recreating movie villain the Lizard. The reptilian-like scaling seen through the entire head and body of this figure has an extraordinary amount of effort and thought put into it. No two scales are alike. Each scale offers a different size and shape, and while consistency is essentially a good thing, variety is the true mark of excellence here. Taking a look at the head sculpt, the scaling on top of the head appears larger, but begins to narrow and eventually dissipate as it makes its way into the face. Everything about the detail helps capture reptile-like qualities. The deep cracking between the scales helps illustrate depth in the sculpt and only help add to the realism. While many fans of Spider-Man are not happy with the design and concept of the Lizard, I can however tell you that the facial structure closely resembles that of a reptile. These qualities can be seen in the strong jawline, along with the wide stretching mouth and narrow beak-like nose with inset nostrils. We can also see the many jaggedly sharp teeth inside the mouth of the Lizard, painted in off-white. The gum tissue is painted a combination between red and pink, with various amounts of shading helping make the teeth stand out even further. The eyes, which lie beneath an overhanging furrowed brow line, offer a great amount of detail as well. A mixture of olive tones and browns surround the pupil, as well as a small white glint of light. Seen throughout the entire face as well as the body is a terrific amount of shading and color variations. This shading and transitioning of colors is oftentimes very hard to do. It can come across as too much, too little, or very blotchy, but on this figure, it is just right. It really seems to do the trick in helping emphasize the detailed musculature and scaling throughout the entire body. The detail in the sculpt carrying forward from the head into the neck is found in the reptile-like skin folds that loosely transcend from the neck into the toned chest muscles. These flaps of skin are picked up again surrounding the abdominals. The chest and abdominal area of the body offer much smaller scaling, and the colorful variations of shading once again do a great job at capturing the ins and outs between the scales. The arms of the Lizard take shape with a great amount of muscle definition. There are striations of muscle on the shoulders alongside larger bumpy scaling. The forearms are once again adorned with loose reptilian-like skin folds. There is also a fair amount of texture added to the skin, this time instead utilizing smaller and tighter scales. The hands offer a unique look at Dr. Connor's transformation into the Lizard. The middle and ring finger on his right hand have merged, giving him only 3 fingers and a thumb, while his left hand offers 4 full fingers and a thumb. Each hand is exquisitely detailed with a horizontally scaled skin texture. The fingernails look to be a unique mixture of yellow and brown with a fair amount of shading surrounding the edges. The lighter paintwork from the chest and abdominal area is carried over to the inner arms, while the backside shares the same darker shaded greens that pull from the back. The lizard's back continues to develop even more unique scales. The upper back offers smaller, tightly knit scales with random sprouting of some larger scales as well. The lower back and back of the legs seem to deliver the same smaller but varying nature of the scales. The tail offers a mix of smooth and larger broken up scaling. The sculpt work for the tail is acceptable. My only wish is that it could have been larger. I'm not perfectly sure the size of the lizard's tail in the film, so in terms of accuracy, it could be correct. Much like the paintwork in the arms, the underside of the tail offers the lighter paint variation, while the top of the tail is composed of a darker green. Something additionally unique to the paintwork is the tiger-like striping seen on the top of the tail, sides of the legs, and top of the forearms. Some of this striping also appears on the top of the head. The front of the lizard's legs offers some of the most uniquely sculpted scales. The cracks between the scales are deeply inset and are neatly painted to help exhibit that depth. The opposing color tones neatly transition across the inner thigh to the sides and back of the legs. The larger scaling reaches down across the lizard's shins, while the calf muscle and ankle are textured with the smaller, more intricate scaling. The feet of the lizard are large, painted in various shades of dark green. The toes are topped with large square scales. The toenails are painted in the same manner as the fingernails, in a brown and yellow mix with a fair amount of shading. Standing upon the balls of his feet, the lizard's stance is more dinosaur-like in nature rather than reptilian. With that, there is only a small amount of flat surface area for the lizard to stand and balance on. It sometimes can be a compromise between posing and weight distribution in order to get the figure to stand. This would have been less of a concern had Marvel Select included a base. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation for this figure now. Starting with the head can do a full 360 degrees rotation, as well as an upward and downward motion, and a left to right tilt. Now the shoulder here can go all the way around. You can do an outward motion from about here to this point, almost parallel to the floor. The elbow can rotate all the way around and offers a single jointed bend. At the wrist, we have a full swivel and an upward and downward bend. At the diaphragm here, it can do a twisty motion, which is a tad bit limited from about this point to this point. In terms of upward and downward motion, though, pretty well. At the top of the leg, we can do a full rotation all the way around. With an outward motion from about this point to this point. Now the knee can rotate fully all the way around as well. And there's a bend in there, but it considerably doesn't do much. At the ankle, we can rotate fully all the way around as well. Pretty good pivot motion, as well as a good back and forth bend. Very nice there. At the tail here on the back, this can rotate all the way around and can do a back and forth bend. Very nice swivel and bend. The figure at times can be a tad bit difficult to get to stand on these very
short, flat parts of his feet. But you can also use the tail for assistance in that area as well. So yeah, in terms of articulation, there's nothing too out of the ordinary. We did see a few new add-ons with figures like the Avengers movie version Hulk, but as far as this figure is concerned, I think it strikes a nice balance. With the more you add to articulation, the more you tend to sacrifice from the sculpt. So quite honestly, I'm exceptionally pleased with how this figure came out.
Overall, at a price point of around $20, this figure offers a terrific value. Clearly the best rendition of the Lizard from the new Amazing Spider-Man movie, it is definitely worth your consideration. I would have liked to have seen an accessory or base included with this figure, but regardless, it should make great company alongside the Marvel Select Spider-Man, which we will be reviewing next. Intricately detailed in terms of paint and sculpt, this is a figure I'm exceptionally glad to own. For other great toy reviews, be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube. For WayCoolNews.net, I'm Mark, and this has been another WayCool review.